This is Dr. Tom Roselle. After 38 years of practice and almost 1 million patient visits, the Roselle Center for Healing knows what works and knows how you can take control of your health and wellness. My team of doctors practice 21st century integrative medicine. Whether you suffer from chronic pain and fatigue, allergies, or headaches, we can help. Take charge of your health before it's too late. Make an appointment today. Call 703-698-7117 or visit online at rosellecare.com.
Dr. Tom Roselle live right now on 105.9 FM and AM 630 WMAL.
Welcome to Dr. Tom Roselle Live. This is Dr. Tom Roselle live in studio. What a beautiful fall day. Little crisp, but nevertheless absolutely gorgeous out there. Give me a call, 888-630-9625. That's 888-630-9625. Love to talk to you. Any subject that you have in mind. Perhaps you've had a problem, you've tried, you've applied, and come up with frustration. Well, here's your opportunity. Let's fix it. Let's do something that is different. What's the ultimate expression of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting a different result? Well, you know what? Don't be silly. Don't be insane. Just give me a call, and let's figure it out. 888-630-9625. Ageless Health 2014 is in the bag. It's done. Won't do it again until next year in this Washington metropolitan area. It was an amazing day. Full house. We had just an overload of enthusiasm, of emotion, of power. People walked away with so much information, and hopefully today they've started a new journey in their health. It was something that we found exciting. We found joy from. And next year, I hope that you're there. If you missed it, those of you who were there, you know what kind of a day it was. It was magnificent, and I hope that we can continue to help you. And any time you have any questions, and any of you that were there yesterday, if you need to have more look at what it is and questions answered, you can do it in a couple different ways. You can always come to any of our in-house classes, and one of our doctors is presenting on a very specific topic. And look them up, go to rosellecare.com and be there with us. You can always just send us a note at rosellecare.com, and we will get back to you. One of my doctors will answer you, or I will write back personally, and we'll make sure that you have the opportunity to put these in place. There's always a couple glitches here and there. We will refine them for next year, and, after doing these programs, and literally the last couple days, we end up with 3 to 4 hours of sleep trying to prepare and get this. So there's a glitch here and there, but overall, I think we hit it at 98% yesterday, so it was very powerful. Make sure you join us every time we do a program, because you never know what you're going to learn. Thank you for participating. Thank you for being there. Recap, we started out yesterday morning, and the first thing that you saw as you walked in and you registered is you had the opportunity to have some organic eggs and muffins and teas and so forth. And then Erin Roselle Poe, my daughter, who is our in-house trainer, she was on stage and she was doing demonstrations on core training exercise, and she engaged you, and you can sit there and you can kind of warm up and get your eyes open, and they were very gentle, but the whole purpose was to show you that you can exercise anywhere and every place, no matter what your status in life is and what your job situation is. There's always something that you can do. I started out at 8 o'clock. I did the keynote and talked about Ageless Health and why Ageless Health is a concept that's so important, and why this analogy of a lifetime of exponential over-the-top capacity is one that we all need to embrace. Dr. Browning talked about dementia and age-related and Alzheimer's and other forms. He talked about how the brain works and the things that it needs, how you can circumvent and put off or never have any fear of dementic type of situations. It was a very, very powerful presentation. Dr. Adams talked about allergy reactions and why sometimes as we get older, it seems, but actually it's a timeline of repetitive exposure and how you become sensitive, how you become irritated by things that you shouldn't be. All of a sudden an organic apple bothers you, or a piece of zucchini bothers you, and it's organic and it's clean, and you wonder why that is. Well, there's reasons for that. There's other pieces from the structural, chemical, emotional mindset that you have to be aware of and tweak and change so you don't have these things happen to you. Then as the morning progressed, then Sue talked about those old tires around your belly and cortisol involvement and how you hold on to weight and how you you have problems with all of that, and she showed you how to fix it. And Sue's always engaging. She's always a lot of fun. And, then we went into lunchtime. And then at lunch, we had the Chinese Martial Arts Institute show a beautiful presentation on Tai Chi. And Jeremy, who was the representative, was the one who engaged people, brought them in, showed you some basics. It was really fascinating. Then Ann Abernathy, Grandma Luge, 6-time Olympian. Unfortunately, Ann wasn't being able to be there, but she had gone into studio the week before, and she recorded her presence, and she was absolutely one of the most amazing presentations I've ever been present for. I went to the studio with her the day that she recorded it, and I asked her, I said, Ann, you want me to sit here? She says, don't you have something else to do? And so I went into another room, and I did some computer. So I had no idea until I saw this thing, and it was about attitude and where she is. This is a woman who, at age 53, competed in her last Olympiad as a luger. I mean, this is unbelievable. If you ever have seen luge, basically what it is, you're down in this small little sled about the size of a food tray, and you're going down the chute somewhere between 90 and 100 miles an hour. And in her last competition, she had an accident, and she broke her shoulder and her shoulder blade, and she was unconscious and so forth, and they told her that, she would never, ever, ever participate in anything again, let alone she'd probably never be able to drive. Guess what's happening? And the reason that she wasn't here, it was at a World Cup event. And she will be, unless something befalls her, in 2016 at Rio, competing in her 7th Olympiad as an archer. Anne had never competitively been involved in archery. In college, she was an archer. And then a couple years ago, literally 2.5, 3 years ago, she was writing articles on archery and said, I used to be a really good archer. And she got a coach, and by the time she gets to Rio, will be 63 years old, competing in the Olympics. I mean, that's called attitude. That's called motivation. And we think we have problems. This woman is absolutely outstanding. She's one of the most amazingly motivating people for me personally in my life, because I look at her and I say, wow, if she can do it, we have no excuses. Change your attitude. Afternoon, Dr. Scott Lamp started out talking about little problems, getting into big problems, and he gave us techniques and things that we could do and how to assess our bodies. And then after that, it was constant. Dr. Leonard Poe talked about laboratory diagnoses. You go to your doc and he does a thyroid test, and he does TSH and he does T4. Maybe he does T4, and they say there's nothing wrong. The problem is there's TSH, there's free T3, there's free T4, there's total T3, total T4, there's T3 uptake, there is reverse T3, there's TPOs. All of these are part of the thyroid panel. Your doctors don't use them. He explained the difference between regular cholesterol testing and the short lipid test and something called a VAP test, which breaks down the lipids into the really good guys and the really bad guys and what they mean, and the inflammatory markers and what they mean, and what to tell your doctor that you really want. And then at the end, I wrapped it all together. And I showed you how to use this stuff. I showed you what it's going to mean to you if you don't. And I'm going to tell you I showed you what it would mean to you if you did, and that you can change anything at any moment. Then we did question and answers, and it was a great day. I mean, I really had fun. I hope you did. Those of you who were there, I hope to make it better for you each year as we have from the year before. It was a phenomenal day. A little brain dead today, but nevertheless, everything is good, and we'll continue the process, because our job, our mission is to serve, educate, and empower you to achieve extraordinary health. That's why the Roselle Center for Healing exists. That's why I continue along the path that I am right now. Give me a call, 888-630-9625. That's 888-630-9625. Love to talk to you on any subject. I want to talk to you about a little something, acupuncture. And we're just going to touch on it for a minute, because we're going to host a very, very important documentary in our office this week. Actually, we're going to show it twice, Friday, this coming Friday, and this coming Saturday. And it's called 9,000 Needles. What's that about? Well, interestingly, there was a guy who had a stroke, and he went several years without being able to move or handle anything. He was a former bodybuilder, and his name was Devin Dearth, D-E-A-R-T-H. At the time that it happened, he was a 40-year-old bodybuilder, and he went there to receive acupuncture treatment in China, and he had suffered this massive stroke while competing. Well, this film that was released within the last year or so was a huge impact because it showed a guy who was totally, absolutely paralyzed and was able to regain function after having been given up by everything and everybody. This movie's fantastic. It's a really must-see for all of us who, not only administer acupuncture, but people who have thought about it and wondered why it's so powerful and why all the conversation about it. Anyway, you'll have the opportunity as our gift to you. There's absolutely no charge. 9,000 Needles, phenomenal documentary in our office this coming Friday, the 24th, and this coming Saturday, the 25th. We're going to show it twice. All we ask of you is a reservation because we can only hold approximately 50 people. So if you call our office, it's 703-698-7117. That's 703-698-7117. Dr. Stephanie Pina will be your host. She'll be the one that will introduce the film to you, show you the film, and then if you have questions afterwards, we'll answer any question that you have on it. So if you ever thought about why acupuncture is so powerful, this amazing documentary will show you really what it's all about and the effectiveness. Years ago, and we're talking about many moons ago, as my son before the dinosaurs ruled the earth, I didn't know a lot about acupuncture until I got into school, and then I ended up with an acupuncture license as well as chiropractic and nutrition and so forth. And I wasn't, super familiar with all these things. And then over the years with application and the things that I saw, obviously, integratively, response with manipulation and nutrition and acupuncture, people just soared. They just were over the top. And I said, how come? Why is that? And it comes down to a basis of energy that our bodies are made up of, and how that energy, when it's waning, when it's lessened, we become more susceptible to all kinds of problems. And when it's at the highest level possible, our bodies begin to heal and begin to turn things around. In the film, you're going to see how this actually works. And I'm hoping that you'll take the time, you'll come to our office this weekend on Friday or Saturday. Call our office at 703-698-7117. They'll give you the times. Also register. You can go to our website at rosellecare.com. That's ROSELLECARE.com. And, check it out. It should be up as far as information this afternoon. And, this young man, he wasn't so young at the time, 40 obviously, he came from a very, very small town in the United States. And, healthcare, obviously, his capacity to choose of different things wasn't as plentiful as you would think here in the Washington metropolitan area. But from one conversation to the next, he was led to the application of acupuncture, and he flew to China and was treated, and within a very short period of time, he regained his capacity. That's amazing. I mean, years ago, those of you who know me know that I went to China, and I saw things there in not only a traditional pattern, but also combined with Western approaches, where people were getting well with conditions here we give up upon, that we say, well, there's no cure, there's no fix. Well, as you know, in our practice, we incorporate all of these things. Here's an opportunity. It's our gift to you, our gift to the community. 9,000 Needles this Friday and this Saturday at the Roselle Center for Healing. All you need to do is call us, 703-698-7117, and register. Go online, look it up, 9,000 Needles. You can find it all over the place. There's YouTube information, there's stuff online, and just show up. We'll be there to answer your questions. Don't go away. This is Dr. Tom Roselle.
Did you know that routine mammograms can increase radiation exposure to breast tissue 1,000 times over a chest X-ray? Now consider a simple, non-invasive, and totally safe medical procedure approved by the FDA since 1982 that can detect breast cancer 5 to 8 years before it can be visualized on a mammogram. Infrared thermographic imaging can accurately detect the initial signs of breast cancer as increased blood supply and metabolic rate, which is recorded as heat. Why expose yourself to radiation when accurate and safe medical detection is available? Call the Thermography Center of Fairfax to schedule a breast exam today at 703-948-7248. That's 703-943-7248. For more information, visit www.thermographyscan.net. That's thermographyscan.net for the Thermography Center of Fairfax.
The Roselle Center for Healing is a proud supporter of breast cancer awareness and reminds you to conduct a monthly breast self-examination and a thermographic breast scan as part of your annual wellness checkup.
105.9 FM and AM 630, Washington's Mall, WMAL, where Washington comes to talk.
Welcome back. This is Dr. Tom Roselle. You're listening to Dr. Tom Roselle live in studio on this absolutely stunning, beautiful, beautiful fall day. Get outside and enjoy it after you listen to me, because I've got a whole bunch of things I want to talk to you about. But nevertheless, call me, 888-630-9625, 888-630-9625. Love to talk to you. Let's talk about things that you want to hear about today. And want to remind you that this Friday and Saturday at the Roselle Center for Healing, we're hosting a documentary called 9,000 Needles. It's about a guy who became paralyzed with a stroke, and nothing Western medicine did for him helped him until he went to China and he received acupuncture, and he was able to regain his capacity, his function. This was a bodybuilder, a weightlifter, and he blew circuit and he became paralyzed. Love to have you as our guest Friday the 24th at 6:30 p.m. Friday night, and Saturday the 25th, I think. Friday's the 24th and Saturday is the 25th, and that's at 2 p.m. in the afternoon. All you need to do is call us at 703-698-7117, 703-698-7117, and tell my staff that you'd like to attend. We do need a reservation. This is a very popular documentary, and we only have limited space. If we have to show it a third time, we will, but Saturday the 24th, Saturday the 25th at 2 p.m. and Friday night the 24th at 6:30 p.m. Dr. Stephanie Pina will be the one who will be hosting the presentation, and we'd love to have you as our guest, but please, we do need a reservation, because otherwise we have no place to put you except sitting on the floor. So give us a call, 703-698-7117, the documentary, 9,000 Needles. You can look it up and check it out, see what it's all about, but I just told you what it's about. It's really powerful, and it's something that I would encourage. I've seen the presentation a couple times. It's really amazing. It's over the top. Be with us. 888-630-9625. Let's talk to you on anything that you'd like to discuss today, because you know what? After all the information we gave yesterday, it's like, where do I start and how do I educate you? There was an article that appeared recently in the Annals of Rheumatic Diseases. You know, sometimes I wonder where they come up with these names for these different journals and organizations. Anyway, it was a study out of Duke University, and these poor mice. I mean, they do it with rats and mice and so forth. But they gave these mice, these laboratory rats, as I called them, omega-3 fatty acid supplements, and really overloaded in their diet. And what they did is they balanced it perfectly with omega-3, 6, and 9s. And what they saw was kind of interesting. 4-week-old mice were fed a low-fat diet, or one of 3 high-fat diets. This is how it went: a diet high in saturated fats, and a diet high in omega-6 fatty acids, or a diet high in omega-6 fatty acids plus a supplement of omega-3s. At 16 weeks, the mice had surgery to create arthritis. See, they could do that to you. I mean, but you do it with trauma. You injure yourself by doing all kinds of crazy things, or your muscles don't work, and so your joint spaces rub on each other, or you're way too heavy, and you know the drill, right? So the animals that ate an unhealthy high-fat diet developed very severe arthritis and joint swelling, inflammation, as compared to the other rats, who had a very different diet and were supplemented with high levels of omega-3s. And the results are similar when we follow through with us. When we look at the global universe of people who have diets that are heavy in oils that contain rich sources of omega-3s, we see that osteoarthritic conditions don't form as significantly as with people who have lousy diets, rancid fats, trans fats, saturated fats that are are unhealthy for us. And so subsequently, the bottom line is that you don't have to take the supplement in the initial stages, but get your diet so you're not destroying your body, then add the supplementation. And there's all kinds of good omega-3s out there from things like fish oils, obviously, but you got to remember you have to be aware of where the fish oils come from, because there's certain parts of the sea that you don't want stuff in your body that comes from those areas. The fish oils are this paradigm of good and bad. Somebody comes up to me and I said, "Where'd you get the fish oil?" And they said, "Well, I got it at Costco." I said, "Okay. Where did Costco get their fish from?" And they look at me like, "What? I don't know." "Well, why is that important? It's fish, isn't it?" "Well, no, it's not just fish, because if it's farm-raised and they're giving it all the junk that they give farm-raised fish, then you're going to suffer the consequences of all the things that they fed the farm-raised fish. If they take it from clean waters like Alaska or in the northern parts of the world, then life becomes a little different. There's ways of really evaluating. You have to know what you're looking at. Otherwise, this stuff isn't as good. It's not as easy as what you think it is. Just go out and buy some junk and take it. We're coming up to a break. Let's make the second half about you. 888-630-9625. 888-630-9625. Love to talk to you on any subject that you have in mind. I've got a bunch of things to say, as I always do, but let's discuss your stuff first. This is Dr. Tom Roselle.
Are you dental phobic? Do you neglect your dental health because of fear and anxiety? A beautiful smile begins with exceptional dental care, and you can trust in the expertise of Soft Touch Dental Care and Dr. Michael Chung. Soft Touch Dental Care is unlike any dentist office you'll ever experience. Their warm and welcoming environment is designed to soothe fears and anxiety the moment you arrive, and they're especially pleased to pamper their honored guest patients. Dr. Michael Chung is a professional and leading expert in all areas of comprehensive dentistry, including cosmetic, sedation, neuromuscular, TMJ, and implant dentistry. Offering state-of-the-art technology, Dr. Chung can give you the smile of your dreams. Arrange for a complimentary consultation today with Dr. Michael Chung and experience the expertise that makes Dr. Michael Chung so unique. Call 703-319-6990. That's 703-319-6990. Or visit bestinsmile.com. That's bestinsmile.com.
Dr. Tom Roselle Live continues now on 105.9 FM and AM 630 WMAL.
Welcome back. This is Dr. Tom Roselle. You're listening to Dr. Tom Roselle Live in studio, and my brain is still working after the end of Ageless Health 2014. It's in the record books, folks. Not again until next year. Those of you who were there, you know that it was over the top. It was a fantastic day. It was something exponential, things that you didn't expect to have heard about or watched or been involved in were all of the above. So mark it on your calendars. You'll see it soon. You'll see the date for next year. Plan to be there. It'll be far better than it was this year. Don't forget 9,000 Needles at our office this weekend. We're showing a documentary as a gift to the community. 9,000 Needles has to do with a young man who suffered a stroke. He was a weightlifter and could find no help for his paralysis complete in this country. He went to China, and he was treated in China, and his problems were resolved. He got his function back. It's worth putting some time aside. Friday, the 24th, 6:30 p.m. at the Roselle Center for Healing, and Saturday, the 25th at 2 p.m. We're offering it twice because we think it's so important. To make reservations, 703-698-7117. That's 703-698-7117. Tell my staff that you'd like to be there. It's our gift to you, but we must have a reservation. Come and watch. Dr. Stephanie Pina will be your host. I want to talk to you about a little something while we get to your phone calls at 888-630-9625. I want to talk about ionizing radiation. Ionizing radiation enters our body in a lot of different ways, and it arises from natural processes such as the decay of uranium in the earth. So we have all these things in the earth crust, and it comes off. And from artificial procedures like, guess what, X-rays. So any X-ray you get, whether it's a dental X-ray or whether it's a X-ray from a mammogram or if it's an X-ray from other type of diagnostic tool, you can suffer the consequences. So we can classify the radiation as natural or artificial sources, and according to where it comes from and so forth. The natural sources, we can also see things like from the atmosphere. They're called cosmic rays. And then gamma rays from the Earth's crust, which you just talked about. There's things that cause it to come about, and it's called radon decay, and that those are products that are in the air and things that we put into our atmosphere. And so the bottom line is that we're surrounded by ionizing radiation from a lot of different things that we wouldn't think about. When I go to my dentist, I drive him nuts because I rarely let him x-ray my mouth for any reason unless he has to convince me that it's significant and he can't figure it out any other way. So the bottom source of this whole thing is that it can cause damage. And if it does cause damage, it's going to cause cellular damage and DNA damage, and it's going to cause your body to deteriorate. Remember what happened in Japan about a couple years ago now, and the meltdown of the nuclear site? Well, that's called ionizing radiation that gets into the atmosphere, and unfortunately, you are susceptible to that. At the end of the day, there are things that can help repair and protect you, and we're going to talk about that. But in the meantime, let's go to the phones. Ruth, how can I help you?
Dr. Roselle. Dr. Roselle, I know that herring is low on the food chain of fish, but is it safe to eat that if you like canned herring?
It's it depends where it comes from. If it comes from the Norwegian areas, it's not bad. And you have to look at the company, how they prepare it, how it's packed, and so forth. But generally, as a rule of thumb, the smaller the fish, the safer it is. Oceansalive.com is a website that you can go to, and it lists if you will, the different pollution levels of seafood and which ones are the safer. But herring and sardines and anchovies and so forth, again, depending on where they come from, are some of the more safer products that you can use. I love sardines, and every once in a while, we get them from areas that are northern climates. And when I'm stuck for something to eat, I'll come home and I'll make myself a huge salad, and I'll open up a can of sardines and I'll put it in there, and I put all kinds of other things in there as well, and then I eat that, and that's called lunch or dinner for me when I'm on the run. So the short answer is yes. Just make sure that they're coming from areas of fresh water where they're not polluted, and you don't want anything that is farm raised. Okay?
Thank you so much.
You're welcome, Ruth. Thank you for calling. Bernice, how can I help you?
I have a question. I was wondering about pancreatic cancer. If somebody does the chemo and it doesn't work, is there any hope for naturopathic medicine afterwards?
There's always hope for anything that occurs. The whole idea is, yesterday at the Ageless Health, I think what people got was that it's not about the cancer, it's not about the bacteria, it's not about the bug, it's about the underlying capacity of the body's ability to repair and respond. If you can get a person into a place where structurally, chemically, emotionally, that they can turn things around, then things change. For example, yesterday I brought up an example of a woman by the name of Kathy Buckley. Kathy is a deaf comic, and she had been diagnosed with terminal cancer, and it had already gotten into other parts of her body, and her physicians had told her that she had less than 6 months to live. And her brain shifted, and she said, who gives you the right to tell me that I'm going to die? I don't think so. And she changed her life. She became a vegan, and she changed her attitude about things, and she started getting low-level exercise and so forth. And subsequently what happened is she began to heal. And when she went back to the doctor 6 months later, the cancer was gone. It wasn't there at all. So are there natural remedies? Yes. Are there people that handle just that type of situation? Absolutely. Pancreatic cancer affects the pancreas, obviously, and it's one of the most fatal types of cancers according to the conservative medical community. Now, having said that, I have many patients who have come to us over the years with that type of presentation, and what we tell them is we don't treat cancer, but we will treat you to increase your immune response, and we use other doctors, medical physicians, who understand the far-reaching effects of pancreatic cancer, and they work in conjunction with us. Now, remedies, there's no one remedy for everybody, but there are things like DMSO, which has been shown to be a very supportive product in treating cancer. Believe it or not, something as simple as echinacea, which will increase the body's immunological response, is helpful for all types of cancers. Vitamin C, IV, intravenous application. Where you are in Arizona, there's many physicians who are very skilled in treating all types of cancers from a natural point of view, and it's a matter of getting online. Folic acid supplementation. In cancer, some physicians will tell you never take folic acid if you have any kind of cancer, because they'll make it worse, particularly breast cancer and so forth. But the truth of it is that folic acid reduces the risk, and significantly reduces the risk. The only thing that you really need to know is if the patient can't convert folic acid or can't convert folate, and you have to know which one's which, and there's some genetic testing that can do that. Vitamin D, lycopene, IP6 supplementation. They're all different things that are used to help patients, but particularly patients who have pancreatic cancer. There's other pieces of the puzzle. There's a guy by the name of Stanislaus Brzezinski out of Houston, Texas. And Dr. Brzezinski is a medical physician who deals with very difficult and terminal types of cancers. You want to get your flavone levels very, very high. Things like organic onions and apples and berries and kale and broccoli and things of that nature will be very useful in addition. There's things out of Canada that have been shown to stimulate the body's immunological response and repair of many different types of cancer. So, I could go on with this, but the short answer is yes. There's things that can be done. The patient has to become a saint relative to how they handle their life. But if you want something specific, or if you want me to hook you up with somebody down in Arizona for a specific person, let me know. Just send me a note on email, and I will be more than happy to help you.
Okay, yeah, it's for a cousin that has pancreatic cancer, and he went with the chemo, and I don't know how he's doing right now, but I'm going to call and find out. So I want him to try something else if it's not working,
Sure, love to do it for you. Just get a hold of me, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Take care, Bernice. 888-630-9625. That's 888-630-9625. Susan, how can I help you?
Yeah, I was diagnosed recently with 3 leaking valves, and my cardiologist recommended surgery. And I really do not want to do surgery. And I was wondering if if I can use medication.
Okay, Susan, how old are you?
66.
Okay, and we're talking about your heart, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so here's the situation. With the heart, like any other organ system, you have nerves, you have acupuncture energy, you have the chest cavity, the chest wall itself, you have nutrition, minerals that support it. So you have to look at the entire problem. If the heart is misfiring, meaning the valves aren't holding closed, so they're leaking, the question is, why did that happen in the first place? It can be simply because it's not getting the electrical source, which means that the nerves from the brain, the vagus nerve, the nerves from the spine, the upper portion of the back, called the splanchnic nerves, aren't facilitating the function of the heart the way it should. There's things like potassium and magnesium and sodium and so forth that have to be in proper balance. Coenzyme Q10 as well. They have to be there at very significant but balanced levels so the heart can fire properly. If those things aren't there, then the heart is not going to fire the way it's supposed to, and the muscles around the valves become weak, and the valves themselves will not open and close the way they're supposed to open and close. So in our business, what we see is that patients who do combinations of different types of therapies, from acupuncture to manipulation, using the right nutritional products, very gentle exercise to open up the chest cavity itself, fare very nicely. I have many patients who we treat to support them who have mitral valve problems and tricuspid problems and so forth. The thing of it is that you have to look at, if these things are life-threatening and the valve has torn in any way, then surgery really is the only way to fix it, and there's no other option. If that was the case, then I would get 3 different recommendations. I would get 3 different top-shelf people to look at if it was my body. If that's not the case, then the chances are that you can be helped. So the only thing I could tell you at that point is you can give us a call, send me an email. We'll be more than happy to walk you through the process, tell you what we think, and if necessary, refer you to the people that we think would do the best job. Susan, that's about as best as I can tell you. Give us a call if we can be of further use to you. 888-630-9625. When we're talking about these types of problems, what you have to understand is, please ask the question why something happens. Don't assume that where you are symptomologically is the end result, that there's nothing that you can do. You can't move forward. You can't make a difference in your health or your life. The short answer is there's very few conditions that have gone to the place where nothing can be supportive. At the age she's at, there's a lot that can be done. There's much more, unless there is valvular damage. If there's damage, then she has to see a surgeon. If there's not damage, there's a whole lot that can be done to strengthen the muscle, to upregulate her wellness, to make her body stronger, to change things so she can avoid surgery, so she can change things so she can take the next step in her life. I'm with her. I don't like to have anybody cut on me if there's another way. But let me tell you something. If I'm bleeding in the street and my life is at risk, you don't want me. You want somebody who is so super skilled at putting you back together that they can do it in a instasecond, right? But then you come to see me, and then I'll support you any possible way that I can. Got to take a break in a couple of short seconds here. You're listening to Dr. Tom Roselle Live. We're at 888-630-9625. That's 888-630-9625. Again, want to remind you, this weekend at the Roselle Center for Healing, we're hosting 9,000 Needles, a documentary on how acupuncture can help paralysis and other very deadly situations. Love to have you. Give us a call. We'll be right back after this message. This is Dr. Tom Roselle, author of Ageless Health. Health is a do-it-yourself program. My book, now also available in audio version, is a step-by-step program of how to take control of your health and wellness without drugs or needless surgery. You have the capacity to change your health and level of well-being. Take control of your health today and order Health is a do-it-yourself program.
For more information and to order, please visit agelesshealthbook.com. That's agelesshealthbook.com.
Welcome back. This is Dr. Tom Roselle. You're listening to Dr. Tom Roselle live in studio today on this absolutely stunning fall day. Want to remind you, this coming Friday, we are hosting a wonderful documentary called 9,000 Needles. Friday the 24th of this month, 6:30 p.m. at the Roselle Center for Healing, and then Saturday afternoon, the 25th at 2 p.m. It's about a young man who became paralyzed. He was 40 years old, and he's a weightlifter, powerlifter, and he lost everything. Traditional allopathic care had nothing to offer him, couldn't get anything done. He progressed. He got worse over a couple years. His family took him to China, and he began to undergo amazing recovery that much later utilizing acupuncture. We're hosting this. Dr. Stephanie Pina will be your person to ask questions of. She'll introduce the film. She'll tell you all about it. And then at the end, she'll answer your questions if you have them. Our gift, but we do need a reservation. Our lecture area only can hold 50 people, and after that, you're going to sit on the floor. So 703-698-7117. That's 703-698-7117. Tell my staff that you'd like to be there. Laura, how can I help you?
Hi, how are you?
Excellent, my friend. What's going on? I hear you're pregnant.
I am. I'm pregnant with my first baby at 40.
Congratulations. Excellent.
Thank you. I'm very excited. I'm calling because my hemoglobin and hematocrit are low, and it's continued to be low. I take iron supplements. I'm doing spinach in my smoothies in this morning. I eat spinach salad. I try to eat some red meat, but it's still low, and I'm still symptomatic.
Okay, okay, so let me give you, because we only have a limited time, let me give you a couple quick things.
Sure.
And then send me an email because I can give you more detail. But here's the basics. You're not absorbing it is basically what's going on. So it's either not getting out of your intestinal tract and linking. So what I would have you do if you're not doing it, take at least 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C when you take your iron.
Okay.
Okay, and you may need a natural form of iron and not an elemental iron. Sometimes that's the difference because the elemental irons don't bind as easily and they don't get into the system. So that can be the first situation. It could be inflamed. So once it gets into the body, into the blood, there can be an inflammatory barrier that is not crossing over, so it's not working. It's not getting into the cellular tissue. Now, hemoglobin is it's just a measure of the iron oxygen carrying capacity of the red blood cell, where hematocrit is the amount of dense, it's the hard component of the cells. You have the liquid and the hard component. Hematocrit is the hard component. So as hemoglobin falls, hematocrit's going to fall. So you need to take a look at that. But do that first. Look at your diet. Make sure your diet is not my mantra: sugar, sodas, coffee, teas, fast food, fried foods, alcohol, gluten, additives, preservatives. Make sure that stuff's out of your diet. It's not there. And if they are, get rid of it. Tons and tons of good vegetables, lots of water. You can have a little bit of green tea. Send me a note. I'll direct you even more than what we've done in the last few seconds, okay?
Great. Can I get the email? Can I talk to somebody to get your email?
Yeah, just all you need to do is go to rosellecare.com, ROSELLECRE. My staff will send it to me. I promise I will respond this week.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome, Laura. Have a great day. Unfortunately, we're leaving a couple of you on the line again. You got to call early. 888-630-9625. We're here every Sunday at 12 noon, bringing you the most intimate and important information on natural and integrative health care. If you ever need to call us, you ever need to know more, call our office. This is Dr. Tom Roselle. See you next week. Bye.
This is Dr. Tom Roselle. After 38 years of practice and almost 1 million patient visits, the Roselle Center for Healing knows what works and knows how you can take control of your health and wellness. My team of doctors practice 21st century integrative medicine. Whether you suffer from chronic pain and fatigue, allergies, or headaches, we can help. Take charge of your health before it's too late. Make an appointment today. Call 703-698-7117 or visit online at rosellecare.com.